Good evening and welcome to Ask 9. I'm Becky Phelps.
And I'm Jim Mertens, and this is Election Day 2025, a big deal.
Absolutely. There are still a couple of hours left. The polls are open, I think, 2.5. They close at 8 o'clock. So if you haven't voted, there is still time for you to go out there and put your voice out there.
Now, we were talking, I think Chelsea said that at her polling place there was a line when she was there. So if you're in a line and it's 8 o'clock, you're still allowed to continue and vote, but you have to be in that line at 8 o'clock. And starting at 8 o'clock is when the polls start to close, and slowly but surely the numbers start trickling in, and you're going to start some of our streaming coverage starting at 8 o'clock.
Yes, we will have here on our streamer where you are watching, starting right at 8 o'clock, the results as they come in live. So we'll do a little intro, and then we will just have those results coming in automatically up. Well, not automatically updating. We will be updating all of the data, but we will have that here, and we'll have more coverage at 9 and 9:30 throughout the night. We will keep you posted on all of those results, and when we know the final results, we'll make sure you know them right away.
Yeah, and we always have that, it's called the ticker, the numbers that are on the bottom of the screen. But as Becky said, at 9 o'clock, we'll move into the main studios and we'll start our coverage there with a number of live shots from our locations, keeping an eye particularly on those mayor's races and those school bond referendums, which are the big issues. There's a couple city council races. There's also the lost tax votes that are going on in Johnson County. So there's a number of important issues that are going to be decided tonight.
And that's why we wanted to use Ask 9 tonight to talk about one aspect of the mayoral elections, which is what exactly are the powers given to a mayor in Iowa. And this is interesting because it varies from city to city. Not every mayor has the same amount of power. So there are several big elections happening. Cedar Rapids is their mayor is up. Tiffany O'Donnell, the incumbent, is being challenged by Myra Bradwell. Let's start in Cedar Rapids then with what they can do.
Okay, so Mayor O'Donnell is looking for her second term. One other thing is that this is a 4-year term, as opposed to, let's say, Waterloo, which is 2-year term. So every city has a little different way that the power of the mayor. So let's talk a little bit about it. What's going on as far as the mayor's duties and the power of the mayor in Cedar Rapids?
Cedar Rapids has a very interesting structure where the mayor is essentially another city council member, and the city manager has a lot of the powers that the state code of Iowa automatically would give to the mayor. So I'll read from the Iowa code. Except for the supervisory duties delegated by law to a city manager, the mayor shall supervise all city officers and departments. So it's up to the city then to decide what the manager gets to do and what the mayor gets to do. In Cedar Rapids, the city manager does most of that work, and the mayor has a vote on the council.
Now, the other big election is also in Dubuque. And once again, it's an incumbent that is facing a challenger. So tell us a little bit about Dubuque.
Yes. Over in Dubuque, Mayor Brad Kavanaugh, also looking for his second term, I believe. He's facing Jason Davis. And Dubuque has a very similar form of government. It's that council manager structure. So the mayor and city council members are the leaders and policymakers, that's according to the city website, elected to represent the community and concentrate on policy issues that are responsive to citizens' needs and wishes. Now, the city manager, like in Cedar Rapids, is appointed by the city council to carry out the policy that the council and mayor vote on.
So that's Dubuque.
So that is Dubuque. Deep breath.
As we also mentioned, in Waterloo, is a little bit different because this is a 2-year term, and we have an incumbent who is, I believe, seeing his 6th term, first elected in 2015.
Yes, 2015. Would this be the 5th term? So he's been in that seat for 10 years now.
Since 2016,
almost.
Yeah. I got 6th term.
6, okay.
So he's finishing his 5th.
Yes. Oh, yes, going for a 6th term.
Yeah, we're talking about Quentin Hart, of course, and he's being challenged by Dave Boson and Matthew Gardner. And once again, this is a different type of mayoral operation as well in Waterloo.
This is very interesting because unlike Dubuque and Cedar Rapids, in Waterloo the mayor does not get a vote the way the council does. So instead, the mayor oversees the daily administration of the city by supervising and directing the city employees and departments. So the mayor in Waterloo has a little bit more of that city manager situation, and he does not get a vote like the council does.
And in some ways, I mean, it's also a ceremonial thing.
Yes.
Because they make sure that they're at all these events throughout the year. So, I mean, that's a big... Sometimes they're very active legislatively. They can be tiebreaker in votes, and other times it's more ceremonial.
Absolutely. Iowa City I wanted to touch on because Iowa City is very unique. They do not... So people in Iowa City do not vote for a mayor. The city council in Iowa votes for the mayor. So the mayor is chosen from the existing city council body, and they serve 2-year terms, which is even more interesting because the city council members serve 4-year terms. So the mayor is chosen by the city council from the city council every 2 years. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and I mean, how do you get something done when you only have 2 years as
I
well?
know.
But that's the way it is. Can I throw in another city?
Please.
So today there's an election in Olwine, and in Olwine they want to change the entire city government. So the question is, should the city change from a mayor council, okay, that has an appointed city manager, so you have that professional thing, but appointed, to a council that's elected at large? What the council at large would do is that they would pick the mayor and the mayor pro tem among their group, and then the administrator that they have right now would become the city manager. So Olwine, and it's the vote.
That is interesting.
It's before the voters today. It would change their entire form of city government, and pretty much it would have the council selecting, as you said, the mayor, which is another form of government.
So that is a little like what Iowa City has going on. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, I'm trying to pull it up here on our website, a story that Libby Randall covered yesterday. Is it Oxford? That has the most, most interesting.
In Johnson County, there is a community, of course, and it's called Oxford.
Yes.
And it has, just like every other city, the mayor's race is on the ballot, and the city council race is on the ballot. And as you well know, when you voted today, you see mayor, and you may have one choice because nobody ran against that person, or you may have multiple choices. Same thing with the city council. What's going on in Oxford?
Oxford has no choices, by which I guess I also mean they have any choice they want. There is no name officially on the ballot
for any of those positions.
Any of the races.
Yeah.
So it's all write-ins. And that's fascinating. So Libby Randall went and talked to the Johnson County Auditor's Office, who says that means every position will be entirely by write-in. And if nobody accepts the position, then they'll have to do another election.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's not that totally unusual in very small communities. I know of one. It's Andover, but I think it's Andover, Illinois. There's an Andover, Iowa as well. I can't remember which one it was, where it always was nobody was running for like mayor or something like that. And it tends to be, somebody in the community will step up or they'll just elect a neighbor. But I mean, that person can also, as you pointed out, that person can decline the election, the write-in election. But it's really, they've got fewer than 1,000 residents in Oxford. It's really important, I think, to point out that these are really small communities. It's really grassroots politics and grassroots governing. And it's not easy to be a not politician, but a lawmaker in a very small community. I can understand why somebody doesn't want to run.
And these are generally not full-time jobs. In those small communities, they are doing their full-time job on top of being on the city council and having to do all of that extra work and research and figure out how they are going to support their community. It is a lot of giving.
Well, and you also wonder, once again, if you're in Oxford and the top vote getter is Mickey Mouse, or Fred's dog, that's we'll see.
Some towns have a mayor dog.
That's fair enough.
That's honorary. But.
So we'll see what happens actually, and that's one of the stories that we do want to continue covering Thursday once the election results start coming in after 8:00.
Yeah, I want to clarify. I slightly misspoke earlier. If no one accepts the position or gets enough write-in votes, the city council can decide whether or not to hold another election, a special election, or they can just go ahead and appoint new members. So they can kind of say, hey,
And sometimes,
Get on
believe
here.
it or not, that is the cheaper route, of course.
Very much so.
And usually, perhaps at that point, they've already kind of surveyed the community to try to find somebody who would accept that position, so the city can move on with its life and make sure that it's passing the laws that are needed for the citizens of that community. But that's what's going on in the Johnson County community of Oxford.
As we said earlier, a couple of hours left for the polls to be open, so you do still have time to get out and vote. You brought this up yesterday, Jim. It's going to be really interesting to see what turnout is like.
Turnout is going to be interesting. We heard that some polling places do have a lot of people. I mean, when I was voting, there weren't very many people. But, I mean, that's hit and miss depending upon the hour of the day and the polling station as well. There's also oftentimes a big rush of people from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock. Other people first in, they want to do it before work. So, I mean, there's different times when the polls really get busy. The other thing is that, once again, the polls do close at 8 o'clock, and then the tabulation begins. And what we've noticed in recent years is that the tabulation really is swayed when the early numbers come out by whether or not they've just dumped all of the early voting numbers, all of the absentee ballots, if all that is processed early, and those get counted first. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens. You read that. It used to be nationally when those early votes came in, it would favor a Democrat. Now it's almost even between Republicans and Democrats, but these are nonpartisan elections, so there's no Democrat, no Republican. So the early vote numbers, who knows what it means. It's also going to be interesting because the people that really are going to look at those numbers are the ones with the bond issues, because they're going to be focusing on which areas of their community, the rural areas or the urban areas or the neighborhoods, who really supported these bonds and who didn't. And because a lot of times when these bonds fail, they'll be asked again. They'll be changed. A perfect example.
Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids Schools asking for more than $200 million.
Just 2 years ago, yeah.
And now it's down to $117 million. They pared back, and they believe that they listened to the voters 2 years ago. They took the analysis of the vote and have come up with a better plan. Well, we'll see.
We will find out tonight whether or not the voters agree. So we will have those results starting at 8, streaming here. We will have them to you as soon as they come in. More coverage, anchored coverage, starting at 9 o'clock here as well.
And it should be a relatively early evening, too. Hopefully all the results, or a vast majority, are in by 10 o'clock. And generally on an election like this, they do tend to really come in. The big numbers, the end of the tabulation really is around 9:30 to about 10 minutes after 10 in that area.
Absolutely. So stay right here with us. We'll keep you posted throughout the night. And thank you so much for joining us here on Election Day. As always, if you have any questions for us here at Ask 9, send us a message on Facebook or send us an email. We'll see you throughout the night for more election coverage.